Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
The holidays are here, and if you have a special someone and need a great gift idea, look no further. Consider supporting a great cause while giving a family member, friend, or colleague a chance to win a 2025 Toyota Supra GR 3.0 Premium by purchasing a Sweetheart Benefit raffle ticket. Not only will you be supporting Coach Joe Gibbs' Youth for Tomorrow, but giving that special someone a chance to win a shiny red sports car. For more details, visit youthfortomorrow.org. Merry Christmas.
Hello and welcome to this. It is the EggChasers Rugby Podcast, the podcast about rugby doesn't take itself or the game too seriously. In the middle of the festive period. And gents, can I just tell you, the single most festive song in the world is...
The most rugbyist time of the year?
No, incorrect.
That's a good one.
It goes something like this. Oh, oh, Chiefs, Chiefs, Chiefs. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
And that's the noise that was most recently ringing in our ears.
It was.
We've just finished watching Gloucester Exeter v Gloucester to round off, well, in England anyway, round off a great weekend of rugby. There's French rugby still going on.
Yep.
I think
still smashing into each other mercilessly.
I think Stuart Lancaster might have snuck a win this week.
He's not resigned yet.
No, and he's very, very upset with grassroots podcasters with scurrilous rumours. Oh, no, Leon with an 80th minute penalty.
Oh, what a shame.
25 all. 25
oh, no.
all.
What a disaster.
That's a bad result against bottom of the table.
Yeah. Is Leon bottom of the table?
Second bottom.
Christ, with their budget.
Van and Perpignan are below them, but they're not far ahead.
They never quite get it together, Leon, no matter how much they spend. And they do spend. It's not like they don't spend.
I always remember that year that they were spending big money. Friend of the pod, Carl Thurns, was there. And was it BBC you were on saying that they're dark horses for Europe?
No, they would spring a surprise.
Surprise.
Which they absolutely did.
They did.
Categorically did.
By getting 0 points from the pool.
The worst ever performance in the European Cup, I believe it was.
That was a surprise.
It's surprising.
It got me all right.
Contact eggchasers@gmail.com is the email address. Thank you for all the correspondence this week. A lot of people very much appreciating the Patreon podcast.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Ghost of Christmas Past.
The Ghost of Christmas Past. That was...
God, be prepared for that.
That was fun.
It was good.
You can get extra content at patreon.com/EggChasers. And if you appreciate the content on the podcast, the fact that we're there for you 52 weeks of the year into our 12th season, while other grassroots podcasters are taking a couple of weeks off, putting out pre-recorded ones
Pathetic.
On generic topics, we're here.
Ridiculous.
On Sunday the 29th of December.
Because we want to be.
Because we want to be.
Not because we're paid to by some big corporation. No, because we want to be.
And if you appreciate that, patreon.com/EggChasers. Help keep the lights on, show your support, and get more content as well. I actually, just full disclosure, love this time of year.
I do as well.
The difference between how I used to hate it as a kid, the anticlimax of post-Christmas, it's cold, it's dark, you can't really go outside because it's too horrible. And I actually remember sort of going, I can't wait to go back to school about now.
Wow.
But the contrast with that, with how much I love it as an adult, I went to the council tip today.
Now, you're a man
Tim, calm down.
You like to get to the tip early.
I love a tip. I was there at, I got up, so I did CrossFit at 9 a.m. At 8 a.m. when it opened, I was at the tip.
Yeah, because the tip that we will both go to that's in between our houses, it gets busy. It gets busy at this time. I've driven past it a couple of times in the last week. It has been incredibly busy.
I love it. I feel cleansed, body and mind. I've taken we got a big boot in our car, huge, big.
Humble brag.
It was rammed. Oh, so much rubbish.
So many expensive gifts.
Yeah, so much.
The pony box. The pony box was full of boxes. So much cardboard.
I don't want to calculate the value of the stuff that I just chucked into landfill.
Yeah. I love Christmas, right? I love any excuse of a drink, even though I've not been drinking much. But I love the excuse. I love people getting together and being merry, and I love it all. And do you know one thing which really annoys me, the cliche annoys me, which is miserable people going, oh, I hate New Year. Like, what? Because you get to get together with your mates? I mean, like, what is the problem here? Or, it's too busy. Grow up. Like, what do you want to go to, an empty pub? Like, there's no excuse for it. You should embrace it as much as you can.
Agreed. Any excuse to have a few drinks, some naughty food, some nice food is fine by me.
I was going to say, one really cool thing on the kind of drinking and being merry and stuff is my kids are now at an age that on Christmas Eve, my mum took all the small kids, like my nieces and nephews and stuff, took them to the pantomime.
Great stuff.
And I went and my kids came with us. It was a big, the rest of us, all the adults and my two teenage kids.
Was this in
Edinburgh?
Oh, in Edinburgh, right.
Went on a while they were at the pantomime. We were just on a bit of a Christmas Eve pub crawl, and it was
awesome.
It was magic. Loved it.
You were in Edinburgh this weekend?
Yeah.
Weren't you watching some rugby?
Well, no, I came back. I came back early.
But you watched rugby though, didn't you?
I watched it on the telly. And I'm quite glad I made that call.
Why?
Because it was a dreadful match.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It was horrible.
What was the score?
Well, it was, was it 10-7?
10-7. Classic scoreline.
It was 3-0 until about 60 minutes.
It sounds awesome. What did you not like about it?
It was just terrible.
Like the stoic defence? Was that not for you?
The defence was good, but the attack, the
two tries. Actually, I've not seen any of the game, but 10-7 tells you one thing, and the fact that the two tries were scored by Pierre Schumann on one side and penalty try on the other side.
Which I understand was a grubber by Pierre Schumann.
Yeah, but Pierre Schumann... Schumann. Potato. He started it with a little grubber kick and then was on the end of the move to score.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What a wonderful Christmas gift for everyone in Scotland.
Here's a question, just on the Premiership, before we dive into specific games. I'm actually conflicted about this. On the game I've just watched, Austin Healey was absolutely raving about how good the Premiership is and has been. I loved the game at Twickenham yesterday. That was a great game. I really enjoyed the game today. I can appreciate some of the other matches, but where do you stand on this? Because I am honestly conflicted. I could be persuaded that the Premiership has never been in better health. I could also be persuaded that it's never been worse.
Well,
never been worse. Yeah.
I'm happy to dissuade you of the first notion that it's never been in better health. It's in horrible health, but it's superficially in good health. Because I think we've still got the hangover from the departed teams. So, it's like saying you're more efficient with your nutrition because you've had your leg amputated and you need less calories type thing. Like, you're not in a better position. And the Premiership as a whole is not in a better position. And it won't be until it becomes profitable or something drastic. Or they can keep their best players.
Will it ever become profitable?
Yeah. It's not even about being profitable. It's about being sustainable at a level where people like Montoya don't go to POW. I mean, that's a really good example.
Or Esterhuizen or Jasper Wiese.
Yep. I mean, there's loads of them. Thomas Dutoy. I mean, has he re-signed? I have a feeling he might have signed an extension a while back. But he's an ex to go, and he's an absolute superstar now. They need to be holding on to him.
I think he might be the best player in the Premiership.
He's up there, isn't he?
Him and Andre Pollard.
Finn Russell.
Finn Russell's a good shot.
Can't really look past Finn Russell.
I'd pick Pollard over Russell, but yes, they're both amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great players. Are you just signalling to your South African fans there?
No, I would. If you had to pick if there was a Premiership final next weekend, and you could pick Marcus Smith, Finn Russell, Andre Pollard, who'd you pick for a final?
For a final would be Pollard.
Depends what kind of final, I guess. I mean, with an absolute dominant pack, and you just need the thing controlling and put to bed. Give me Pollard every day of the week. Someone like. I mean, Finn Russell works very well with that Bath pack, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Would Pollard work better with that Bath pack? Maybe.
Probably.
Potentially.
In a final, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think in a final, yes. And part of the reason I'm saying that is because we have 2 World Cup finals where we have clear game tape and semi-finals as well, and quarterfinals.
Nobody has that sort of dominance of personnel that South Africa have.
No.
No one.
No one does. But we've seen it. We've seen him do it multiple times.
This is true.
Sadly, we've not seen the same from Marcus Smith or Finn Russell.
Yet. Yeah.
Yet. True.
Would Pollard do better with Scotland than Finn Russell?
Good question.
Isn't it?
Gregor Townsend would like him more.
He would, because he would do as he's told. And, the star of the show would be Gregor Townsend. And I don't think he likes sharing the limelight one bit with Finn Russell. One bit. He just has to do it because Finn's amazing.
He does. Begrudgingly.
They're all brilliant. But anyway, to the point where... So the Premiership's not in... The Premiership is not in a great state in lots of respects. So we can agree on that.
Yes.
That aside, is the rugby that we're seeing, which has shifted to a slightly more attacking focused style, is it really, really good, which I could be persuaded of, or is it rubbish, which I also kind of think it is? I know I'm forcing a polarised opinion.
Well, I know, but I think you make a good point, because I think it is polarised, right? I don't think in the Premiership you can have a complete team. It's not possible. Look at Gloucester. Gloucester are a team which are coupled together with remarkable ageing attacking talent. Therefore, they play like ageing attacking talent. I mean, they're very good at it, but they are a bit fickle. I think the point you make is absolutely spot on, Tim. You can do one thing or you can do the other. Because if you could do both of them, you'd be Toulouse, and no one can afford to be Toulouse.
No one can even be close to Toulouse.
Or you'd be Leinster, and then just no one has the budget.
No one can be close to. So I think you are right that it is polarised. You are pushed in that. Now, whether we see in 6 months' time, 9 months' time, when the new season starts in September next year, and the budget, the salary cap goes up to 6.4 plus your salary credits plus your marquee player, so north of £7 million, back up to where it was pre-COVID. Will they be able to bring more talent in, or will it just go to retaining a bit more of the talent that they would otherwise be losing?
Or worse still, there's one club like Bath, for example,
hoover
all the talent and become something akin to, a less good version of Toulouse,
or more like Toulon, back in the day,
and completely distort the league. The big challenge for the Premiership is when the salary cap goes up. But just to your point, Tim, I think there's only one team which tries to be balanced in the Premiership. Maybe I'm wrong. But in my mind, the most balanced team, and this is going to sound like when I said Sale are the best team with ball in hand all those years ago, but I think it's Leicester. So I think Leicester are trying to be a balance. They're aggressive. They want to play attacking rugby. They want to do everything. They want to be hard in defence. And actually, they end up pleasing nobody because they're not specialists in any one thing.
Well, maybe Quins have fallen into that trap as well.
Yeah, I think Quins might have fallen a bit into that trap.
They've for years they had a weak pack. The last few years they've had a much better pack, but they're trying to have the solid pack combined with the skillful attacking backs, and losing someone like Esterhuizen is massive because he's he's a one-off player in the Premiership. He's a one-off player in the world, almost, save for maybe Dialande, who keeps him out the Springbok 12 jersey. But he's so hard to replace, and they just end up doing a bit of everything, but therefore a bit of nothing, and they're sitting in 7th.
Yeah. I
to your other point on the salary cap, I think quite a chunk of that extra ceiling, if clubs choose to use it, will be used to retain players they already have because the contracts that people signed with people during the troubles, where the clubs going bust and people not having a job, those will be expiring, and these guys will want to be paid what they're worth. On the open market.
There again, if no one's got the money, no one's buying players. I mean, it's hard. I think you could see a scenario where there's going to be massive haves and have-nots. I mean, this is already the case before the salary cap cuts, right? But take Sale. You can see that there'd be a situation where two Dupree boys and Ford are head and shoulders above everyone else just to keep them in the country. Ford is marquee, say, but if you want to keep those Dupree boys, you're going to have to pay out French wages.
One is going to France already.
Oh, is that right? Is that confirmed?
Jean-Luc is going to Bordeaux.
Did not know that. When was that announced?
Oh, last month or last couple of months.
I did not know that. So, well, there you go. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that will continue to happen. That is the problem, that you'll end up paying French wages for a few players, but not everyone else. You'll end up having car parks like Bristol's was a few years ago, where you have the the Micras and the Corsas, and then you have the Range Rovers and the Lamborghinis.
I think I mentioned it before. That's one thing I quite like about going to Exeter Chiefs. There were everyone had a kind of middling car.
Yeah.
Even Henry Slade just had a fairly standard car.
Got a good financial advisor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the heartbreak when one of the Sale understudy 10s told me he was going to pick up his Range Rover Sport. Thinking, what?
God.
You are? Why?
Oh,
and the next year didn't have a job.
Yeah.
Or
I've got this. In fact, I wonder if it's the same person we know. Is it? No, I don't think it is. I know someone who has a very nice car, but also has a limit on mileage, so doesn't use it.
Oh, yeah, very common. Well, another player that me and Phil met for a beer, who almost didn't pay for his beer, said, "Oh, yeah, I'm very sensible with money. Next week, Mercedes G-Wagon." Because it's an investment, you see, Tim. Clever, smart.
Now, in terms of cars, G-Wagons do hold their value reasonably well. But that's in terms of something that depreciates by 50% in 3 years.
Exactly
so
right.
It's all relative when you're buying any car.
Yeah. So if you're a rugby player, don't buy a car. Unless,
yeah, just cheap.
Unless you've got a good agent and your agent gets you a car for free from a dealership.
Quite.
Which used to happen all the time, actually.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Joseph had a Jaguar from a dealership.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I had a car from Newbury.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Mark Earle of Colwyn Bay fame used to drive around in I think it's Slater's Citroen, and that was for coaching Colwyn Bay. Yeah.
The deal I had, so I was a student at Bath Uni, and the deal was you can have a car, you just got to bring some lads from Bath Uni.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I took Rob Higgett.
That's a good signing.
Who went on to play for Bristol.
Did they give you an upgrade on your car for that one?
Yeah.
Rob Higgett from Ruthin.
From Ruthin, yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. Just hold all thoughts.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Oh, wow. What's he up to?
I'm getting the phone charger.
Oh, okay. I thought it was more interesting than that.
Nothing that interesting.
So where do you stand, Phil? On the, are you engaged and excited by the Premiership to the same degree you have been in previous years?
Overall, I've enjoyed the quality generally. However, this weekend's quite a good example where we've had, the first 3 fixtures of the weekends were just unbelievably one-sided. Now, one of those was interesting because I watched the Friday night game, the Bristol at home, getting hammered
by Sale.
Sale taking Beatdown Boulevard on the road to Ashton Gate.
And Bristol, again, managing to win away for a whole year, but not nearly as solid in front of a packed
good crowd.
Ashton Gate. That scoreline was so mad.
Those scorelines, and I've actually... I watched the Quins Leicester draw. I've not even bothered watching the highlights of the other 2 games on the Saturday because 68 points to 10 and 61-0. If I wanted scorelines like that, I'd watch the Women's Six Nations. that doesn't interest me.
Yeah, it's a strange bunch of results this weekend, AJ.
So
sorry.
I do find it.
Yes, Tim, it was.
I do think that is the problem that we've seen with Europe, where people are kind of gaming the system a little bit. It does feel like it's bleeding into it bled into this weekend's fixtures a little bit, where there are going to be like Saracens going away to Bath and not taking the strongest team, not the weakest team, but they I don't know. It feels like teams are happy to lose away if they win their home games, maybe something along those lines.
Yeah,
just on the games that you watched and didn't watch, I didn't watch the Newcastle game, unfortunately.
No, and I've not even bothered watching the highlights because I don't think I'll learn anything.
I did watch the Bath game because I want to see how Saracens unravelled, because they're not a team that unravel. And that was quite interesting. I mean, they were a victim of circumstance as much as anything.
It was a red card, wasn't it?
Red card, yellow card, early injuries, teenagers on the field. A lot of what you said, Phil, which is they came with a weakened team.
It's not like I'm looking down the team.
I said that
week.
It's not Jamie George, Mara Itoje, Ben Earl in the pack.
Fergus Burke. I mean, is it Blake or Burke?
Fergus Burke.
Burke. I mean, he's a starting fly half. He's as good as I've got.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who is rested in the team.
Literally, two people have randomly got in touch with me on different platforms telling us we must watch the Rob Baxter interview on TNT.
Oh, which I switched off to come here, basically.
So did I.
So maybe we should watch that.
We should do.
Oh, interesting, right? You keep
Shall
talking.
we just pause this a second?
You keep talking, I'll try and find it. No, you keep...
So watching Saracens Unravel was quite good fun. But also watching Finn Russell and Bath pull the strings. They look like a team in the ascendancy, to put it mildly. They just look very, very powerful, and that they're in the groove.
Oh, I'm looking at so I didn't see any of this game, but obviously Liam Williams yellow carded after 4 minutes. He then went off with half an hour to go. Elliot Daly went off after 5 minutes. Theo McFarland went off after 5 minutes. Ezekwe went off after 40 minutes. Obviously Knight got a red card after 14 minutes. So there's some significant changes. So it's not that weak a team, but significant changes during the match.
Yeah, it became rapidly more weak as the
game went on. In that first 15 minutes, they've lost McFarland, Elliot Daly, Liam Williams has spent 10 minutes in the bin, and Knight is off the pitch indefinitely.
So which game do you want to talk about in depth? Because I think there's two of them which deserve a lot. Maybe three.
The two I watched most of would be the Leicester Quins, which was a draw, and I think Bristol Sale was very interesting.
Bristol Sale was so interesting.
Do you want to live analyse Rob Baxter?
Go on then.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, here we go.
I actually said to the lads before the game, it doesn't have to be a tight, nervy, edgy one. It may well end up like that, but it doesn't have to be if you can get enough control in the game. And I thought for a period we were, but then literally, we can review that game over and over and watch balls getting flipped around and flapped around, and Gloucester having possession, us having possession, guys running on turnovers, as making passes or as kicking, and I suppose it was always going to be the game it ended up being in a lot of ways, especially for us. Maybe not for Gloucester, but for us, it was probably going to end up like that. And I'm just pleased for the lads more than anything else that it's turned out our way in the end.
I've never heard you speak with that level of emotion in terms of not sure whether to cry, to laugh. What's been the pressure that's been put
Sorry,
upon
just
you
pause that
going
second.
into?
Did he say any of those things?
I'm assuming there might have been something that was before where the clip starts.
Because I didn't hear much emotion in that answer. Did you?
He was definitely pleased, and he was uncertain that they were going to win.
It must have been something else.
I'm assuming there was something said before.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly there because it's hampered our performances, hasn't it? And I think our job as coaches is almost to try as hard as we can not to transfer too much to the players. But at the same time, you do have to have an expectation as a club that you're representing that we're all going to go out there and fight together and we're going to get there. And we've probably just had that wavering of performance where sometimes it's been too much focused on...
Uh-oh.
I was getting a
we're going to physically turn up and then we've been inaccurate. Other times are we getting the systems in place and we haven't had quite the physical edge. And so you've got to really try and avoid ending up going on this like roller coaster where every week you think you're saying the opposite thing. Oh, this week it's about emotion. Yeah. This week it's about accuracy. This week it's about emotion. And we tried to level that out this week. So we didn't talk anything about the emotion of the game or that. We just talked about the things we know we've practiced. Try and keep going back to them. Keep putting them in the game. Give them as many minutes in the game as you can, and hopefully you'll get a positive outcome based on us just sticking to a few things that we say we're going to. We had a very basic plan today, stick to a few things, and on the whole we stuck to it pretty well, and ultimately we've come through and won the game.
What do you love about that?
Just sticking to the process, like teach them a few things and try and apply it to the game. The amount of times you teach boys to do things and they completely forget it. Like if you just teach one or two key principles, whatever it might be. So I tried to get in the start of this pre-season the guys to carry the ball and present away from where the ball has come from. And like every time they play, they don't do it. I'm like, just do one thing and it makes a huge amount of difference. And I think those are details which are really important. So love that.
It's too easy to try and transfer too much knowledge and you end up transferring nothing. If you try and do 15 things, you end up doing none of them. Yeah. If you try and do 2 things...
The skill of a teacher, or indeed a coach, is to pick the most important things, prioritise them and get that through. So
or from what you're saying, sometimes go, right, we're playing for Exeter, play for the badge, go and smash someone, and actually you can try a bit too hard and be offside.
Which also works on occasions.
It does work on occasions.
Probably not today.
Yeah, interesting.
You're a process-driven man and you try and put that across your team, but the outcome is, when we look at the Gallagher Premiership table, you're not bottom. What does that look like? What does that feel like to you?
It feels an awful lot better than it's felt, but at the same time, I have felt that we would climb at some stage. Yeah. I said to a few people today, this was our 4th Premiership home game. Yeah. That's it, and it's the end of the year. This was our 4th game. I know we shouldn't have lost the other 3. There's certainly a couple there that were there for the taking. We should have seen them off. But it's still only our 4th Premiership home game. There's a long way of the season left. The fixture list unravels for us now, with most of our travelling done, more of our games at home, relatively little travelling to do. We've kind of done a lot of the big stuff, and we've actually done better in those games with our collection of losing bonus points. So we've had this weird scenario where I keep looking at the results across the weekend, and I can see we're a really competitive rugby side. Our last 2 Premiership performances away at Bath. You watched what Bath do yesterday. Yeah. We got a losing bonus point at Bath. The game was in the balance for most of the game. So I know we're competitive, but we just haven't forced the win. And now I'm hoping that the wins can come with that bit of confidence and sticking to a few things that will help us just stay in games.
So let's have a look at your next 5 fixtures, because you've mentioned this. You've been able to get that monk off your back. You've got that W. How do you navigate?
Get a monk off your back.
I thought I heard that.
Keep this momentum as well as giving minutes to players that may not have had as many minutes.
Well, now I think things become a little bit easier for us, because what we had to try and not get stuck in was, we've lost, so we have to make changes. When you need some consistency. At the same time, you do have to not just allow a genuinely poor performance or an injury issue to blight your next selection. We go to Leicester next week. The reality is there are some things that Leicester are very good at. We might need to tinker with our team just to counteract that and give us the best chance of winning. So we should have more confidence in doing that now, rather than thinking, consistency again. We've got to actually open ourselves up now, get our heads up as a coaching group as well, and select and train correctly for Leicester, and be ready to do that, and not just go, we won today, so just chuck the same 23 out there, they'll do the same job. Doesn't work like that.
Rob, can you start?
It sounds like there was more before and after that.
Yeah. But I mean, the point remains. I mean, when you listen to him, he's just basically summarising what I think Exeter are, which are a good rugby team who have not managed to get over the hump yet, and they're still developing. That's what I've always thought. That's what I've always said. The details have been off, and he's prioritising the details. I just love how he talks. So there's been a handful of coaches I've played for in the past, obviously, level 7 or whatnot, but I've gone on to better things. And it gives you so much more confidence as a player when you feel the coach knows about the game. Not just technical drills and, how to pass the ball, but when they actually know about the game. Say, if you do this in the game, this will probably be the outcome.
I think another one of the qualities which would make me want to run through a wall for that guy is the self-confidence he's got in what he's doing.
Yeah, 100%.
And so he doesn't celebrate wildly when they win, and he never gets too down when they lose.
Yeah.
And I can imagine he's very hard and has very high standards, but I also think the scariest and the thing you want to avoid most from Rob Baxter is him just shaking his head. I'm really disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
He's not going to shout at you. He'll just drop you forever. And one of the most ominous things is when he said then, Leicester are good at a few things. I.e., he knows exactly where Leicester are good. They're not good at a few. He's not guessing they're good at a few things. It's not like Brian Moore picking his World Cup quarterfinalists. This is knowledge, secret knowledge, which he has, and he will change his team, and they might win, they might not, but they'll be competitive.
And they should have beaten Leicester at Sandy Park earlier in the season.
Yes,
the last-minute try that cost them that game. That'll be interesting. So
it sounds from what he's saying like he's thinking, no, we're still in this.
Do you know, in terms of rugby interviews, people say, rugby coaches are boring. Well, it's because it is quite boring to be a coach. I mean, I don't think he said anything there inflammatory. I don't think he said anything there which was headline worthy. But he told you exactly what he's going to do and how he's going to do it and his thought process. And it isn't thrilling, to be fair. Unless you're really into nuts and bolts of rugby. I mean, I find it fairly thrilling. But for a wide audience, it's not basically what you want to hear, is it?
Well, there's no clickbait headlines. You can convert out of that.
Exeter going to follow their processes. Gradual improvement over a number of weeks.
Exeter are 19 points off 4th spot.
Here we go.
And we're halfway through the season.
They can do it.
Not a chance.
No, not a chance.
No.
But they can still win the European Cup. Don't forget that.
And I don't think that's... I genuinely don't think that Baxter would, at the start of the season, have realistically... He might have targeted top 4 as a as a stretch goal, but I don't think he realistically would have
I
said.
thought they were in with the chance for top 4, after last year. I thought they were going to kick on.
I genuinely didn't. I think I've said on this podcast several times that they're a couple of years off, and at least a couple of key personnel. Like to be having to play the England starting 13 at 10 is a problem.
He did look so.
He had a great game.
Slick at 10 though.
He had a brilliant game.
Super slick. Do you know
he's a brilliant player.
Do you know where that lets them down though? When he plays 10, they have absolutely no link between 13 and the wings.
Yeah.
So every time Hammersley got his hands on the ball, he was a good winger, like a really good player, but he just didn't have this. And same with Tua and Hodge. When they get into that channel, they just didn't have the ability to whip it wide.
Yes.
And I think those wingers are still standing wide, waiting for the mercurial boy to enter that space and then just fling it. But there was no one there. They just can't do it.
He's right. He's right about the losing bonus points, by the way.
What have they got in terms of?
They've got 6 of them out of 8 defeats.
Yeah,
they haven't been far off the whole time. Also, the ridiculousness of the Premiership qualification for Europe means they only have to go up 1 position to qualify for Champions Cup.
But to do that, they have to overtake one of Northampton Saints, Harlequins, Gloucester, Leicester, Saracens, Sale, assuming that Bath and Bristol are both safe.
I didn't see Northampton being down there to the degree that they are.
No, neither. But again, I think they'll turn it around towards the end of the season, get very, very competitive.
Yeah, Northampton are not a team that I'm worried about.
No,
at all. Same with Quins, who are in 7th.
Quins, I am worried about.
Really?
I am more worried about Quins than Northampton, that's for sure. Just back to Exeter quickly. One of the things which was very reassuring is they got a grip of their scrum. Their line-out looks slick. They were hitting all sorts of decent things.
And those 2 points were big weaknesses in Gloucester's game today. Yeah. They struggled big time on the line-out, and they had more penalties against them at the scrum than they won, certainly.
Yeah. On Gloucester's side, I mean, it's difficult because I really want Gloucester to do well this year. Just not at Sandy Park.
You're happy for them not to do well.
Yeah, it was a hard game for me to sort of watch because I simultaneously, if they could both get maximum points, I would be very keen for that because I want Gloucester to make top 4. I'd love them to win. I'd love it for their fans if they could win something, particularly with this team as well, which is like cobbled together. It's a proper Oakland Raiders style, I don't know, it's just got some... It's captured my imagination somewhat. A load of
I agree.
aging war horses
with a few bits of homegrown talent in there,
and some youngsters.
Yeah, they have got a mix, but it's a mix by situation rather than design. They wouldn't. I don't think 3 years ago or 2 years ago when Skivington came into the role and he said, What will your team look like in 2024, 2025? He would not have said this.
No, absolutely not. We'll slowly build. We'll establish players.
Yeah. Set piece dominance, work around the set piece and build from there. And they just seem to have ripped that up. The set piece was
We'll just have whoever we can afford. Yeah. We'll get the best value possible and we'll see what we can do. Just on Thomas Williams, doesn't it just make you wonder, why were Cardiff so bad for so long with this guy? I mean, he's such a good player.
Did you hear in comms they were saying, why not Lions?
Why not Lions?
Why not Lions? He's playing great rugby.
I don't know. I mean, I do. Gibson Park is
Gibson Park is the one, yes.
Alex Mitchell.
Yes. I would go Thomas Williams over Alex Mitchell. Maybe not.
Ben White, George
I'd have Thomas Williams above
pulling in Ben White from Toulon.
If it... Yeah, there's not that many, is there?
He's just bloody
Craig
good.
Casey.
Yeah, I'd have him over Craig Casey, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Whoever starts for Wales,
Ben White has been good.
Ben White's a great...
Yeah, he's a good player.
Englishman Ben White as well.
Yeah. London Irish is Ben White.
Yeah.
Or was he Leicester Tigers first, then London Irish?
Is that right?
Yeah, Captain Tigers.
I think that is right.
I know it's right, Phil. I'm absolutely certain that it's right.
Yeah.
And he also Captain Tigers.
Leicester Grammar Schools. Born in Stoke-on-Trent, went to Leicester Grammar School.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why not. Do you know, though, when I watch him, that is the kind of guy, now he's got a little bit more publicity playing in England. Why would someone like a Toulouse or a big major French club not snap him up to be their backup? A seasoned veteran backup to come in when your number one goes away.
Who? Sorry?
Thomas Williams.
Yeah.
Because he is that kind of player, isn't he?
Well, France is a country that has no shortage of nines.
They have almost too many
but he just
nines.
feels like he could do that job brilliantly for somebody.
Toulouse have been sniffing around the lad at Brive, like another 20-year-old superstar scrum half, Leo Carbonell, who looks amazing.
If you want to talk about young scrum halves, we had the return of the prodigal son on Friday night.
Oh, yes,
Rafi,
Rafi.
who apparently his contract's up at the end of the season.
It is, right. So I wanted to raise this point.
Broughton Park's Rafi Quirk, let me add.
Well, if I was a self-interested director of rugby, would I have started him this week? And what I mean by that is we know he's phenomenally talented and there are clubs sniffing around him. That performance that he put in this week is going to get some clubs very excited. If you're looking for the long-term solution at 9, this guy's coming up. Bit of an injury risk, but my God, he's talented.
Who needs a 9 right now? Quins, I would say. But Will Porter's good.
Exeter
do
need. I've been saying this. Exeter need. I've said explicitly that they should buy Kouiou or Baptiste Saran or Le Garec. Basically, one of the ultra talented French 9s who are almost never going to play international because Dupont is too good. They should get one of those guys.
Yeah.
But Rafi Quirk is also, if you could guarantee his fitness, which I'm not sure you will be able to.
And, when you saw his first try, you're thinking,
awesome.
That might be why he's injured, because he's so bloody explosive.
Yeah.
He is so fast. But the point I'm going to make is, would I have played him? And the answer is, I probably would have kept him under wraps, because I know how good he is. I don't think I want any more directors of rugby.
Well, hold on. If you knew how good he was and you wanted to keep him under wraps so you didn't let anyone else see his talent, you would do two things. You would sign him.
Yes.
You would re-sign his contract and select him.
But just on that, I wouldn't select him until he'd re-signed, right?
Right.
So,
Okay,
I do.
So I'd be sort of pushing, like, you've got no offers, mate, you've got no offers. I'd try.
And you're not playing.
I'll give you a tiny bit more. I would get that deal signed before I put him back on the field, which sounds like a horrifically Machiavellian thing to do, but you want the best talent, and he's a hell of a talent. And now he's just sort of exposed himself to the world, and everyone's going to be going, hang about.
Yeah.
This isn't a bad option, is it?
And in 2 days' time, he can start discussions.
Ben Spencer's contract is up, isn't it?
I've no idea.
Is it?
I seem to think someone said that on comms. I don't know if that's true. Double check that. But yeah, I mean, that's potentially another landing spot for him. I mean, Bath would love a dynamic young English 9. Particularly with the salary cap going up. So would Quins. God, lots of people would like him. So I wouldn't have played him. I'd have kept him on the bench and used him as and when.
But when he did play, we saw what we've been missing for the last 2 years. He's hardly played, has he?
No. And
he's allowed
good he is.
Gus Waugh, who's not as talented, but is a superb all-round player, to make that 9 shirt his own. But now he needs a run of games, starting, staying fit, scoring tries like he did, and he'd be one who'd be worth being in the conversation for England.
Well, he's only 23 still.
Yeah.
And he has a unique talent because he's so
fast.
And actually, he can whip a pass.
Oh, yeah.
His passing is very good. His box kicking is good. There's a lot to like about him there. But the one thing I really liked about him, it was his defence. So let's just talk about this game, because this is
wide channels late on.
Yeah.
When War came on and they'd already lost. I can't remember who they'd lost, but
it was centre.
George Ford went off, didn't he? So
Luke James went.
Luke James, Dupree, yeah, because Bedlow was on. Dupree went to 10. Did Flaherty step in?
Something happened. But
his 2 games for England were
South Africa.
Yeah, South Africa, where they won.
Yeah.
They won it. Back in 2021 now. It's been 3 years.
God.
And he has played a grand total in the last... this season that was his 6th game, if you include Premiership Rugby Cup as well. Last season he played 15 times. The year before, 18 times.
That seems surprisingly high.
It does seem.
It does, yeah.
That doesn't seem right.
I don't think it is right.
No, but he's only started 5 games in both the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, played a few off the bench.
Starts. Yeah.
But yeah, 5 starts in 2 seasons.
Last season, a total of 330 minutes of rugby.
Which is not a lot.
No. Mind you, he's only played... Oh, yeah. Anyway, not a lot.
Oh, dear. Has anyone ever thought... No, actually, let's just stick with Sale. So, let me talk to what... So, I said I'd watched 2 games this week. So, I'd watched the Sale game in detail. I watched the Exeter game in detail. So, I didn't watch them last week. This Sale game is a coach's dream. An absolute coach's dream.
A defence coach's dream
just
as well.
What do you want from as a coach? Primarily, you want hard work and effort.
Yep.
And Sale gave this in abundance.
Yeah.
They dropped one man into defence, and that was it. And they just hit things all day long. And, Bristol have got to look at themselves a little bit here. Because Sale did leave their backfield open somewhat.
Yeah, it's so interesting to say that. One of the takeaways for the weekend for me, and I would put Bristol and Glasgow Warriors in this camp. And Glasgow were poor and lost narrowly to Edinburgh, as we already mentioned. But they play, and when it clicks for Glasgow, they are so good to watch. Mm-hmm. The way they won the URC last year was brilliant.
It was.
And their attacking rugby is just ace. Same with Bristol. But the one thing Glasgow and Bristol don't have is a good kicking game.
Well...
And they don't bother.
But is it that they don't have a good kicking game, or have they decided not to kick?
They don't kick.
So
and there are times when you have to recognise... Well, at the very least, it's not just that you need to flip and kick. It's just, no, you need to kick to change the picture in the defensive line. So that in that case, Sale kick a few times, Sale drop Tom Roebuck and Tom O'Flaherty back, and then there's more space to get to the outside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Bristol just didn't seem to make that connection.
Well, because they don't, do they?
Well, but they it's not that they don't always do it. They prioritise the running. But AJ has been so good this season, and he has when it's right to kick, he has kicked.
That's right. They did have a young man at 10 who obviously.
Not Joe Worsley's son.
Not Joe Worsley's son.
Is Mike Worsley's son?
Someone did let us know he was...
Someone has told us this, right? Now, I think actually you're just seeing what Bristol do is they trade off one thing for another. Here is my kind of my thought on this. Now and again, as you may be well aware, Bristol have catastrophic failures, and it haunts them for a long time. And I wonder if this is a catastrophic failure that's going to haunt them. And the reason why is Sale have demonstrated to the league, if you want to stop these guys embarrassing you, because that's what they do. They don't just score against you and then win. They're not kind of chivalrous about it. They just keep on kicking you in the face until you're dead. You drop one defender back, make them kick, and they won't kick. And then you can just leather them all day long. Now, when this happened, when Quins beat them in that semi-final, it set them back 3 years because they changed everything that they did. They tried a more conservative game, and it's just not in their DNA. I think the best thing they could do now is come out to their next game and be even more reckless, actually, because someone is going to be looking. Yeah. Someone's going to be looking at that and going, well, Sale have just showed us how to do it.
But that's kind of what when I think of Bristol, I don't just think they run everything. I think they attack.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
When you're part of a military family, you understand sacrifice and support. At American Public University, we honor your dedication by extending our military tuition savings to your extended family. Parents, spouses, legal partners, siblings, and dependents all qualify for APU's preferred military rate of just $250 per credit hour for undergraduate and master's level programs. American Public University. Value for the whole family. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.
And so when I say kicking, it doesn't just mean territory.
No.
It might be a kick to attack. You've got someone like Gabriel Ibatoyi and you've only got Joe Carpenter back there. Nudge the ball over and let him.
Tell you what, let
him go for it.
Massive interventions one-on-one.
He did
with Ibatoyi.
He was very good.
Rafi Quirk covering in those wide channels was really good. I mean, they worked. I actually asked the Sale defence coach this, who is
friend of the pod, Byron McGuigan.
It's like, how did you simultaneously, like, it looked like there was no room in the middle. So if you watch Bristol, I can't remember who it was against, but they just shredded someone down the middle. It's Tigers. You know, you had the two props shredding the Tigers defence down the middle. Tigers. Like, who are physical. So obviously they had something wrong there. But it's like, how do you sort of make the middle so robust, which it was? They were leathering people, and then get wide. Well, they just drop one defender.
One defender. They were also using.
They were working hard.
Yeah, and they were closing the door. They had a blitz from outside 13. So if Roebuck was the open side winger or Flaherty was the open side winger, that person would charge the blitz to try and like shut the door from them going wide to shut off Bernard Janssen van Rensburg's options to hit Rich Lane coming through, or either of the wingers, Ibitoye and Bates.
The other thing,
or Revuvu in the 13 channel.
The other thing I think they did really well is, I think they paid attention to where other teams are falling down against Bristol. Bristol's line-out defence is probably one of their unsung heroes. So they ruined Tigers' line-out. Every time Tigers got anywhere close to like line-out territory or red zone territory, the line-out went to pieces. The amount of movement that was in Sale's line-out and the amount of dummies and options to get someone in the air uncontested was very impressive. And the only time they lost it is when they had repeat balls at the front to Johnny Hill, which I think they thought, well, we're baited to the back, we're baited to the middle, we'll go to the front, and we'll go to the front again, which is what they did. And that's the only one I can think that they lost. And I don't think they mauled much for the most part. I think they threatened them all, but Bristol's maul defence is great. I mean, it's really, really good. So now, do Bristol, what do they do now? Do they react, or do they just carry on as they were? I think they should carry on.
I think they will carry on.
I think they will.
I think James Williams will come in as 10 rather than Worsley, because AJ's out for 4 months.
Oh, man.
So he'd be back in time for playoffs. But
can you sign players in season?
Yeah.
If you've got the salary cap.
They should.
Salary cap and availability. But Bristol's a weird team. I'm not sure anyone can play fly half there. I think they're better off having someone in their system to play it. Unless they can sort of...
did a bit last year. Bit of centre, bit of fly half.
Yeah, he's a good player. I like Williams a lot. I wonder if they could sort of crowbar away at like a Johan Lloyd or something if he's not getting much game time. Someone who's they've got Sheedy and Lloyd over in Wales.
Yeah.
Could they borrow one for a period of time? Because I don't see either of those boys playing for Wales anytime soon. I mean, are they starting for the regions? I don't know.
No idea.
URC. Do you watch it? Any URC? Do you pay attention to any Welsh URC?
Yeah, they're not going to be. Yeah,
just not.
No, I don't really pay much attention to the Welsh teams, to be honest.
No, neither do I. I pay attention to Ulster, who had a great win this week.
They did have a good win. Played very well.
Just on the Sale Bristol, did you see the record that was set by one of the Sale players for most consecutive Premiership starts for anyone, of any player ever in the Premiership?
That's weird that I don't know this.
Most consecutive Premiership.
I'll tell you the players who he overtook. So in third place, Tom Voice was something like 54.
Sure, it's got to be Alex Waller. It's got to be another one of them.
He's not. So in second place was John O'Ross. Sale over the years.
Okay.
But first place for most Premiership. So this player has 64 consecutive Premiership starts.
So, wow. So it can't be. I'm just looking at the back row. It must be Bevan Rodd.
No, it's not. It's not Bevan Rodd.
No,
I think it's Dan Dupree.
It's not Dan Dupree.
It must be Ben Curry then.
Rob Dupree.
I thought you said forward.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No. Yeah.
Wow.
Rob Dupree has started 64 consecutive Premiership games.
No wonder he's starting to get better. I think I might start to get better after 64 consecutive starts.
Wow, that's quite a record, that.
Yeah. It is, and he obviously started at 13. He then, for the last 15 minutes, went to 10. He was kicking sticks after, because Ford took a heavy knock and played for a few minutes after. But
Ford looked good, by the way.
He did.
He did look really good. I loved the
drop goal.
I loved the drop goal, and he turned and ran back without seeing it go over.
Yeah.
I got that one. I loved it.
Yeah, I think a lot. I think Alex Sanderson will say all the praise goes to the players because it was their hard work, and I am the first one to criticise Alex Sanderson for even the slightest misstep. But you have to give him credit for creating that environment to make those boys work that hard.
Yeah,
because it's not an accident. Those same boys don't work as hard. And this doesn't happen. So it's a remarkable win.
Johnny Hill looked very good. Ben Curry looked good. And someone did message.
Ben Curry looked very good.
He looked very good. And someone did say, Ben Curry's nose got slightly larger.
Which is a nod to Charlie Ewell's time in
South Africa.
Ben Curry looked
ferocious.
Big. He looks big.
Yeah. Manhandling people. He looks in great shape.
They'll be fine to lose one Dupree, I think, just as long as they have 2 Currys.
There's lots of...
Well, do they have to? Because Tom Curry went off.
People like the shiny new toy, and everyone's going to be saying Henry Pollock should start in for England.
He should.
But maybe he should, but Ben Curry is playing some proper rugby.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I really like Pollock. I just want to see him swagger onto the Twickenham turf in a Six Nations game he owns it.
I'm sure he's the third dark Curry. The Curry that was abandoned.
So well done, Sale. Well done, Barry McGuigan, friend of the pod.
Yeah. Someone else who stood in for Phil before.
So, do you know what I forgot to mention last week?
Go on.
I forgot to mention people should be calling in or writing into us with Boxing Day games. Because one of my favourite things is Boxing Day and these weird times between Christmas and New Year where odd games happen.
Oh, there's that one down in North Dorset, isn't it? North Dorset Rugby Club, there's always one.
There's always one there.
Against like Wiveliscombe or something like that. Some local derby game.
I can't even say it now. Wimbledonians, is that how you say their names?
Yeah.
Wimbledonians have their game. I was at Llandudno Rugby Club this week to watch Llandudno Rugby Club take on the Boxing Club in a fitness challenge, of which nobody from Llandudno showed up. One of the players' wives showed up, and I was in my gym kit, so I represented Llandudno for all of 15 minutes in a fitness challenge. But
that's a bit awkward.
That is a bit awkward, as I've only ever played for them in one...
No, I don't mean for you. I mean for the rugby club.
Yeah, but do you know what? When the bar... So it was 9:45, the fitness challenge, and just didn't show up. I don't think it's very well publicised. I showed back up at the same club, actually their clubhouse, 3 o'clock, and it was starting to get rammed. Like, they do drinking there very, very well. And I think it was it just needs a little bit more of a push. But it had the beginnings of a very promising event. That I like the idea of the boxing club versus the rugby club, because not only...
But maybe not 9:45 a.m.
Yeah, maybe make it 12 and maybe do it on the field so more people can watch. And I don't know, but there's something there about that, like mixing 2 local sports clubs.
How fit are boxers?
Very. Yeah, very, it turns out, yeah. I have my excuses. I did just come out of the gym. There's one girl next to me called Camilla who was absolutely sensationally fit. And they do this thing, like, they make you sort of, in like a half sit-up position, and you've got to hit pads for 30 seconds. It feels like a lifetime, an absolute lifetime. Then you've got to hit across, and then you got it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. But yeah, it's got the beginnings of a great idea, but it just needs to be developed more. But I think that's exactly what you should be doing. It should be like your local rugby club playing football against the football club, getting more people involved that way, and then introduce them to the insane amounts of drinking, because that's what everyone's there for.
Because there's also, during the summer pre-season, there's often rugby clubs against local cricket clubs.
Yes, there is.
Which is quite good fun.
Yeah. That is cool. I was going to say, another thing I forgot to mention last week, after so many emails about it, is the number of people that got in touch in recent weeks about that Netflix show about Korean rugby.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I wanted to talk about this as well. It just shows, doesn't it? Like, it's such a good sport. It just takes someone with a little bit of creativity. This has created more chatter, I'd say, than even the Six Nations behind the scenes stuff. Yep. It feels real. It feels like they actually care about it, rather than, come on, Warren, just pretend to be talking to your wife randomly about the Welsh situation. Grow up. No one believed it. Not even the Finn Russell episode was good. I mean, how do you make Finn Russell not be exciting? He's standing with his hands in his pockets, like gingerly stepping over hurdles. So what?
I mean, the Finn Russell stuff was some of the better stuff.
It was the better stuff, wasn't it? I mean, it's so hard to get rugby wrong. Well, it's not, is it? I mean, we've got a whole professional class that get it wrong. So actually, it's really easy to get it wrong.
The people running the game that said, no, you can't have access to the changing room and you can't do that. Well, just if you want to see rugby done right, Chasing the Sun. If you want to see it done wrong, full contact.
Yeah. Do you know, if I was in charge of that Netflix show at that time and said, no, you can't go in, I would just say, turn off the cameras. We're going.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
And then I would probably still publish the show, but just as a blank screen, just a blankness. Here you go, boys. This is all you're doing. Enjoy it.
But the Korean show, the thing that got people excited was that they seem to have made real your idea about a purely scrumming challenge.
Yeah, good.
I haven't watched this, by the way.
No, neither have I.
I've only seen the trailer and the little clips of that scrummaging bit. I gather it isn't.
But look
the
how
rest
it's
of it,
marketed.
I gather the rest of it isn't as good as that first episode. But what you're saying about what you're saying about how it's marketed.
But look how it's marketed, right? It's marketed. You just see the trailer. It's like, oh god, people are getting hurt. Like every time they hit each other, they do that little shaky camera thing.
Yeah,
as if the ground has moved. And we're talking about probably like equivalent of level 5 rugby players here. Not to be dismissive, but it doesn't really matter. Even level 5 rugby players,
you're putting your body on the line.
Yeah, it's captivating. It's captivating because of what they're doing, and you look at what we're doing. In fact, just to sort of show you where rugby's going wrong and why it's so hard for people to buy into mainstream rugby. Here is a tweet. Now, I just want to, before I say this, I have a ton of respect for Nick Heath. I think we can all say we like Nick a lot.
Good guy.
Great guy. But this is his tweet, right, today. And this is why it's so hard to like rugby sometimes. Those Quins boys should be lining the touchline and cheering on those women who have had to work twice as hard for what they get, but they just giggle like schoolboys because they're caught on camera. Now, it's just hard, isn't it?
So what happened?
I think after big game 65 or whatever it was, the women played, and the Quins guys must have been caught on camera.
They played beforehand,
either before or after. I don't know, but obviously they were caught on camera and they giggled, rather than showing extreme deference. But it's just so hard, isn't it, when you're continually being lectured to. About
they've worked twice as hard to get what they've got.
Tim, they haven't.
Is that true?
No, it's not. They haven't worked 10% as hard. They haven't, because the player pool is so small. They just haven't. Right? If you're a half decent athlete, you can become a women's rugby player fairly quickly. Right? And that's not to disparage the women that play. It's just a smaller pool. Forget me. Charlie Ewels is a lot less likely to make it in South Africa as a lock forward. Do you know why?
There's lots of them.
Correct.
Loads of blokes who are 6'5",
correct,
and 115 kg.
That's Charlie Ewels, who played for England, right? So he's going to struggle because the player pool is massive and it's huge and it's hugely physical and it's a developed sport. Just celebrate the women's rugby for what it is. That's what I'd say.
Well, I mean, I was watching Edinburgh Glasgow while the women's game was on, and flicking across. The Edinburgh Glasgow game was not good.
10-7.
But I was flicking over to Stormy Sharks. That looked fun.
Did it?
I do kind of like the idea of summer rugby.
I think you should grow up.
It looked good. It looked fun.
It's not fun, Tim. Look, what Super League. Do you want to have fun? Go watch Super League. And by the way, you should. It's an amazing league which deserves far more coverage. There you go. Summer rugby fixed.
We should be standing on the sideline of Super League, applauding
because they have to work twice as hard as we do, or something. Mind you, I do applaud all the grassroots podcasts because they do have to work twice as hard as we do to be as good as us.
Yeah, they work
half as hard
because they do half as many episodes per year.
That is true, and also they have people to do stuff for them.
They do have a lot of people,
and they have networks which publicise their work and put their work on website front pages and
We're
such.
such unsung underdog heroes. I impress myself.
Whoa!
Not the antique chair.
Oh no,
the antique chair. I was just leaning to.
We're just leaning in to our awesome achievements, and we fell over.
There's a tiny little bit of beer left in the can from last week.
From last week.
Oh, 7-day-old beer.
Shall we do next year's? Next year's fixtures.
It is next year's fixtures.
Hold on a minute. Is there anything else? Any more on the games?
Quins
Leicester. 34 all.
The best game of the weekend.
I can't believe we almost missed that. Well, first things first. I usually watch the games on delay. It's just more.
It's more efficient.
It's more efficient, right?
It's like the way I listen to a podcast in 1.5 speed.
Yeah, that's naughty. That is. Or voice notes. If it's over 4 minutes, 2 times speed. So, because
I would just say the flip side is if you want to make it sound like anyone's drunk, listen in half
speed. Yeah, true. So because I watch on delay, when I see a try, like, yeah, I kind of know what happened there. That was good. That was bad. Move on. Next thing. Never watch conversions. I'll know if they got it because of the scoreboard, right?
Well, you just watch the highlight package and you've got 3 minutes of highlights. 2.5 of them are the kicker
kicks, yeah.
kicking the ball over the post.
I did have to watch the Marcus Smith try a few times to understand how he did that against professional rugby players.
Marcus Smith?
Yeah, so the first try was not Marcus Smith, it was Jack Walker.
Walker, yeah.
But it was a Smith break from nothing.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I don't even think of him as a particularly athletic guy. Like, he's nippy, sure.
Yeah.
Top end speed, not so much. And you just cut them to ribbons like he was Shane Williams.
Well, and I watched that thinking, like, how on earth has he done that? Exactly the same as you. But because it's Marcus Smith, everyone knows that he's going to... It's not like... Yeah, he might kick, but he's one of the best at show and going and the little jinky run. You should be predicting that. So how has he done it that early in the game when everyone knows that's what he's going to do? He should have been leveled.
He should have been leveled.
He should have been absolutely cut in half.
Every opportunity you get to level him, you should level him, right?
Yeah.
But do you know what I think it is? I think it's his threat of his pass. And therefore people just hold off him a bit because they don't know what he's going to do. He's like the ultimate... triple threat.
He is a triple threat. Great kicker, great passer of the ball, great runner of the ball.
I'm going to say one thing on Marcus Smith. I don't... some people will roll their eyes. I don't think the Marcus Smith at fullback thing is over yet.
I hope not. I think he's a great fullback.
I don't think it is.
George Furbank is out. Freddie Stewart, who played really well again in this game.
Do you not
He's
think
playing great rugby.
And he had the best... He was the best player for Tigers against, was it Gloucester last week? He's playing really well. Do
you not think it changes the dynamic, though, with the escort runners and the protection?
Yes.
So Freddie Stewart seems like the number one guy because he's bigger. But to me, that seems like overemphasising one aspect of play.
It might be that either Smith could start at 10 and then be moved to 15 to change the dynamic, as has happened before. Or it could be potentially starting a game there against certain opposition, depending on who you're playing.
Yeah.
But he spent most of the match in the backfield.
Yeah.
And looked great there.
He does. He's a great rugby player.
Yep.
Great rugby players are great rugby players. It also gives you a lot of flexibility with your... Maybe more with Owen Farrell playing rather than George Ford, who I assume will play. But it does give you more flexibility with like a 6-2 split.
Yeah. Because you can cover multiple positions.
Yeah. So I love it, yeah. I don't see why not. He adds a whole new dimension to England's play. I don't think it's an accident when they played their best stuff in the World Cup. He was at fullback,
and people don't seem to have an issue or when Damien McKenzie or Bowden Barrett plays in either position. When Santi Carreras plays in either position, he's really good rugby player.
Sasha Feinberg
and Gomazulu plays in either position. Damien Willemse.
Or lately, in course, Montpellier, Stuart Hogg.
Yeah.
Stuart Hogg, Ramos.
Thomas Ramos, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with this idea. I think it's a good idea.
Blair Kinghorn has done it.
Blair Kinghorn, yeah.
In fact, maybe that should be like one of the things you look for. Can your fullback play fly half? No.
Yeah,
off you go.
Furbank.
Yeah, there you go.
Started for England at 10.
So Freddie Stewart would be the odd one out here, not Marcus Smith.
Yeah, well, Freddie Stewart is a bit of an odd one out. There's few... The only other international fullbacks I can think of who are 6'5" and above would be Israel Folau.
Well, Blair Kinghorn, but he can't play 10.
And Blair
Mike
Kinghorn.
Pike.
Mike Pike.
Yeah.
Tallest ever, 6'7" Canadian Mike Pike. Mm-hmm. Tallest international fullback to play the game. Kinghorn is a good shout.
Isn't the shiny new Australian guy?
He's playing 13 though. We've only seen him play.
I'm just thinking of other international. Yeah, Juan Cruz Malia plays 10 and 15 for Toulouse.
Santiago Carreras.
Now, what about if you throw Freddie Stewart on the wing so you can do some trickery, so he can catch the ball in certain situations, and Marcus Smith can return the ball? Does that work for you? Does that appeal?
I think there's an option.
Faye Waboso is injured currently. I don't know for how long.
He might not be. Yeah. It's the last time.
Maybe that's how you get the balance. You could try that and then have a guy like Roebuck on the bench if you wanted to go more conventional.
Yeah, Roebuck can catch a ball, certainly.
He's certainly very good at high ball.
Is getting a bit old.
Who, sorry?
Elliot Daly. And I wonder if he'll be half as effective without his little buddy Farrell to hold his hand. But those two, joking aside, work so well together. They work so well together.
Daly's been a superb player for England.
But whether it's George Ford or Finn Smith, I think one of those two at 10 and Smith at 15, I think we're going to see it in the Six Nations.
Maybe.
Multiple times.
The reason I think you'll see it at times during games when whoever comes off the bench is moved on, and you have to keep Marcus Smith on, and he goes to 15. I don't think we'll start it often, and I say that just because of the time of year that the Six Nations is played in. If you're playing up at Murrayfield or in Dublin and it's 3 degrees and driving rain,
fair.
It's not your go-to option.
But if the roof is closed in the Millennium Stadium,
maybe, yeah. Or if you're in Rome,
yeah,
and it's 18 degrees, you might play it.
Yeah, watch your space. I think you want something, Tim.
But Smith looked good.
Smith looked good.
Match.
Freddie Stewart, I really do think he's playing his best rugby at the moment.
Yeah, agreed.
He did get caught out by Caden Murley's pace.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about him.
Not
Why
many
is he
people,
not an England player?
Yeah, not many people won't get caught out by Caden Murley's pace because he is legitimately rapid.
Wheels.
I am so convinced on that guy. When he went round the edge of Freddie Stewart, that to me might have been the death knell in our former conversation and an example of why you should pick him. Because if you're going around the international fullbacks like they're not there, maybe you should be an international winger. I don't know. It's just simple maths.
We've always been a big fan of Caden Murley. He's playing some great rugby.
Yeah, I think Beard is another guy who we might see called up to the England squad if he's not already been.
He's been in training squads, hasn't he?
Mentioned.
And Northmore as well, who's now back fit. I hope for an extended run because he's had some injury problems.
Yep.
They're two great players. Good, big, strong boys.
Do you know who I'm missing at the moment? I don't know where he is, but I'm missing him, deep in my heart. Isaiah Parisi. Where is he?
Don't know.
He was becoming rapidly my favourite player in the Premiership.
Him and Cato. His mate got another yellow card.
Good.
Yeah. Making up for it.
Talk to me about that. Because there's many people that thought he should have been a red card, including Hugo Monnier on the analysis of on the game.
Discount that.
Some of the commentary teams, lots of other people online and stuff. I also think there's an argument it was a rugby instant play on.
Because of it was a tackle.
Because he was stood there. He was stood there and... I can't remember the name of the player.
It was Oscar Beard.
It was Oscar Beard, yeah.
Oscar Beard carried the ball, I think it was Kelly who tackled him from the side.
Yeah, and there's an argument almost that Kata doesn't tackle him, Oscar Beard runs into him.
Yeah, so without Kelly, Kata makes the tackle. Therefore, even though Kelly, and I think it was Kelly, but let's just say it was Kelly, even though Kelly hits Beard, Kata was always going to make a tackle.
I think it might have been Hassel Collins, but anyway.
It might have been Hassel Collins, yeah. The Leicester player that made the tackle. Kata's always going to have contact with Beard, therefore you need to prepare for contact. But I just thought...
Yeah.
I thought
Matt Carley did a great job.
I thought it was... I saw we got an email about it. I wouldn't have even mentioned it because I've seen that before. It is high danger, but there are mitigating circumstances. Therefore, it's a yellow. Therefore, we move on. And that's exactly what played out. Matt Carley did very well.
I like Matt Carley a lot as a referee.
Good ref.
Him and Luke Pearce are right up there as the best in the world.
Yes, agreed. And it is, we've said this before, it's a shame that the English referees can never referee for England because I feel that England...
I think that is something which should go in the bin. I think you should be able to have referees. If they're professional referees, they should be able to ref their own country because they're professionals. I mean, I say that. I'm saying this kind of as a uninterested neutral in international rugby. I don't really support a team. I can't imagine the South Africans would take it well. I mean, you know that market, don't you?
I think I disagree with you on that idea. I like that. It's just, as Phil says, it is a shame because the English refs are the best in the business.
They are the best.
They are the best in the business.
Can you imagine them? Can you imagine South Africans taking it well if, for instance, they lost a call to an Australian ref? No, keep it as it is.
Yeah,
keep it as it is.
It's not worth changing it up.
No, it's not. It's not.
Maybe just English refs can ref England.
But we get them in the Premiership. We get them in the Premiership all the time.
I think it's just this came up in the Soccer World Cup, where they had referees from all over the world, and some of them were just terrible. It's like, here he is from Mauritius, like hasn't got a clue what's going on, but he's from Mauritius. He's the most senior ref in Mauritius, purely by I don't know. Hard work and meritocracy.
He's had to work twice as hard to get to the same place.
Well, I mean,
against the one other referee in the whole of Mauritius.
Yeah. So they're like, right, enough of this. We're just got Premiership referees and Serie A referees and whatnot. So, but actually, we do have enough referees in rugby of high quality.
Yeah, there are some very, very good referees.
We forgot to mention last week as well, and this is an opportune moment just to touch on it. Mac Hansen.
Yes.
Did you see it?
Oh God, the press conference.
And he hasn't had. I don't believe he's had any official repercussions from that.
Good.
I've not seen it.
I mean, so I have enormous amount of respect for the referee, and I don't believe Matt Hansen, unfortunately. I just don't believe...
Matt Hansen was saying he explicitly said there's too many calls going for the big team.
We always get this against us. The calls go against us.
Look, I mean, I'm sure if you go back, maybe what he's saying is sort of true. I don't believe him in general. I don't think professional referees are that way inclined. I just don't. But I can also understand that when you are in the trenches with the lads and you tell each other this all the time, I mean, this is a classic Alex Ferguson thing. Everyone hates us. Up comes a drawbridge. And if you're telling yourself that all the time, it might boil over into frustration.
Well,
but I like to hear
who was I chatting to recently? Oh, it was working on the Champions Cup a few weeks ago. I was chatting to Jamie Roberts, and I was, I've taken quite a big interest in French rugby the last couple of years. I was like, and it was a cast game. It was Northampton Castra, and I went, why is it so? Is it just the selections of the teams that means that so many teams win at home and don't win, and lose away, and it's so much harder to win away from home? Is it just the selection? And he went, it's referees. Before he went, no, referees. He said in France, the home advantage that teams get from the referees. Now, I don't know if that's because the atmospheres are so hostile, the crowds are so loud and noisy, or whether it's just deeper than that. I don't know, but he was absolutely convinced that refs are massively skewed towards the home team, and they get all the 50-50s going their way.
There you go.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's a very kind of French thing to happen.
That wasn't what Matt Hansen was saying, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was not. Yeah.
The problem.
He was. Do you know who it reminded me of? Remember JB at least 10 years ago, probably more like 15 years ago. We went to watch Wire. We went to watch Warrington.
Every time, ref. Every time.
There was a Warrington Wolves.
There's one ref in particular
that we were there watching the game with, and she was 100% convinced that there was not only a conspiracy against Warrington Wolves, but everyone knew. Everyone knows. So like everyone in every other club knows this. The RFL knows it. All the other fans know it. There is this conspiracy.
Nothing you do.
And one guy in particular.
What was his name? The referee.
I can't.
It's like a deacon or something. It was I
can't remember.
Oh, hell of a game.
It was like a known. And what Mike Hansen was saying just was exactly the same.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. But I thought, how can I weave her into this podcast? But honestly, she would be. Not only was it known, and then it was. I think it was a semi-final. It was a big playoff game. Warrington lost, and of course, it was the ref's fault. Yeah, and everyone knows it's the ref's fault.
Yeah. Did you see? You must have seen this, Tim. The other frustration over on the island of Ireland about the matchups this weekend, and particularly the IRFU intervening in the selection for Munster.
What?
So there was allegations that the IRFU had enforced a mandatory stand down for Jack Crowley for this game, where he would have been going up against Sam Prendergast, who's the man who took his jersey off him in the autumn internationals.
Well, does that tell you that someone's getting excited or someone's not getting excited, or they don't want that competition on camera? What does that tell you?
I don't know. It might just be completely unrelated that he's genuinely got like a fitness concern, a niggle that the IRFU want to not exacerbate. Therefore, he will definitely be fit for the Six Nations.
It was interesting.
But we don't know.
Yeah,
in the void of
like Jack Crowley,
information,
it should be the one, if he wants to play, to control his career. Because say if he does have a niggle, right, and they don't want to exacerbate it, I understand that. I respect that. I respect that it's an elite performance program, all the rest of it. But actually, there are going to be times when you have to play through pain in order to get to where you want to be. And if he wants to put in that mega performance against his opposition number, I mean, but you can't deny him that.
But it could be taken as Prendergast is the man and we want to see more of Prendergast. It could also be taken as Crowley's the man and we want to make sure that Crowley is available.
I mean, you could understand it, couldn't you, if Crowley was basically Butch James, and you're like, no. This is very irresponsible now. But he's not. I would let him play. I would let him play in a heartbeat, because those are the games you want your senior players to be playing, so you know what you've got.
You do, in Munster at home to Leinster, they ended up being handily beaten.
They were handily beaten, and to be fair, Leinster, maybe for the same reasons, had quite a few players not available, not playing. Mm-hmm. No James Lowe, no Hugo Keenan. I'm just looking. No Jameson Gibson Park.
Yeah.
And no Tyke Furlong. Andrew Porter was on the bench.
Furlong's been injured for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah. So that could have been the same thing going on with Jack Crowley as those players. I don't know, but the depth, Munster have got a few players out, and when they lose a few players, it's quite big. That said, Billy Burns actually played quite well at 10.
Did he? I've not seen the game. He's a good player, Billy Burns.
Or do Munster feel like they're screaming out for Stuart Lancaster? Do they feel like they're screaming out for Dan Lancaster, more importantly?
Clearly, from what Stuart Lancaster said, there was absolutely zero truth in the rumours that were started.
More carefully to what Jackie Lorenzetti says rather than what Stuart Lancaster says.
Yeah. If Lorenzetti comes out and calls Stuart Lancaster fat,
it's a done deal.
Already sent home Sia Khaleesi. I don't think he's going to think twice about sending home Lancaster.
Leinster were very good. Stormers v Sharks was a wicked game. Marnie Leboc's quite good at rugby. Josh van der Fleer is playing like he played when he won World Player of the Year this season. He's just so good.
In between World Cups, of course.
Yeah.
Perfect time to be one of the best players in the world.
And I don't think there's anything more from the Quins Leicester game.
Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
The holidays are here, and if you have a special someone and need a great gift idea, look no further. Consider supporting a great cause while giving a family member, friend, or colleague a chance to win a 2025 Toyota Supra GR 3.0 Premium by purchasing a Sweetheart Benefit raffle ticket. Not only will you be supporting Coach Joe Gibbs' Youth for Tomorrow, but giving that special someone a chance to win a shiny red sports car. For more details, visit youthfortomorrow.org. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
No.
Steward's good. Smith's good.
Yeah. Murley good.
Yeah. Fine. Done.
And Ulster got a win.
Ulster did get a win away in Galway. Galway because they got all the refereeing decisions going their way. That's why.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
A couple of young men got debuts in that game. I think for Ulster there was a bit of rotation for them too. So that's a good win for them, which leaves the. Just have a look at what the table looks like. Look at Ulster into top 8 now.
What does top 8 mean when it's at home?
Champions Cup.
Champions Cup and...
playoffs.
And the playoffs, yeah.
Let's do next year's games.
Next year's games.
What are you doing for New Year?
Hanging out with Phil in our friend's very expensive house.
Yes.
A very expensive extension, I might add.
It is more than an extension. It's like a new house on his old house and under his old house. His
old house is basically just the facade of the new house. So from the outside, it looks like a Victorian house, would you say?
No, it's like 1920s maybe.
Yeah, okay.
It's like arts and crafts. So Chorltonville, as you know. Arts and crafts.
Chorltonville's a nice part of town.
Arts and crafts semi in Chorltonville. Very nice part.
Have they over-invested in it then?
Yes.
I wouldn't like to go on record saying this, but... Maybe what they have spent on it will not be worth what they paid for it and have spent on it. But it's there forever.
If they're going to stay in it, then all good.
Yeah.
George Ford could spiral bomb in this extension and it wouldn't hit the ceiling.
Yes, it's like being in La Défense Arena.
Yeah.
The kitchen extension,
except with a better lighting rig.
Do you know what I think with stuff like that though? And I was in a very nice house in Edinburgh this last week, and it was lovely. Like. Cornicing, the floor, the little brass details. It's just absolutely beautiful. I just think that this must cost a fortune to run, to maintain, to heat.
Yes. Yeah. Big spaces take a lot to heat.
Yeah. Elon Musk, he always says, and it's easy when you're,
the richest man
on planet Earth. He says one of the biggest solutions for happiness in the world is people just making do with what they've got in terms of where they live.
That's not that is a good one. My one, right, which gets me so angry all the time, is I'm certain one of the biggest keys to happiness is the quality of your commute. Right, so if you have a 2-hour commute either way, or 1-hour commute and it's miserable, you'll be miserable. Yes. It's simple as that. And this is when I lose my rag, particularly with Manchester at the moment, which just thinks it's okay to make you sit in traffic, or makes it okay to dig up all your roads and put useless bike lanes there. Because actually, it's not people like us that have to sit in the traffic, is it? Because we can work from home with our laptops. Because, we're the very fortunate, privileged middle class. It's people that've got to go to the Amazon warehouses, or, cycle those electric bikes and deliver parcels.
And I could stomach the roads being dug up to put in cycle lanes or whatever, if at the same time they were digging the roads up, they go, oh, do you know what, let's lay that fibre optic cable at the same time, and let's also do that. But they finished one.
Just benefit me at the same time.
They finished what the story of the bloody roads in Manchester the last few years has been. Firstly, they waited until lockdown finished to start.
Yep.
The perfect opportunity to overhaul the infrastructure.
All the workforce are back, aren't they?
Yeah. But then they did these bloody cycle lanes at a cost of huge money in Chorlton.
And who uses them?
No, very few people use them. But that aside, maybe people will in the future, and that could whatever. But they finished that and then started digging them up again for another reason.
Yeah, it just never ends. Our incredibly expensive pedestrianised 4-way crossings, we don't need them. We've never needed them. Yet here they are. I could go on. Like Deansgate, you can't try. It took the Manchester Evening News an hour to get across Manchester. That was their story. And it was finally real news that actually matters to people. It takes an hour to get across Manchester City Centre. Now, if you're fortunate and you have like a professional job and you work as an accountant or solicitor or whatever it is, you can get on the tram. The tram, the train, affluent areas, great. Good luck, by the way, getting from some of the less well-off areas of Manchester to more manual jobs. Just good luck with that, because that's not how it's set up. Joke. Hate it all.
It is frustrating to see what we've done.
Yep.
And I used to go 5 times a week. I used to get a train to and from London every day. I mean, admittedly, the work that I did when I was there, but it makes it actually more ridiculous, was a 3-hour radio show with like half an hour before. I'd arrive an hour before. So it was 4 hours. I spent 4 hours a day.
I mean, it's not like you were doing the Today Show either, was it?
No.
Like, you didn't have to be in studio because politicians were dropping by.
Playing Bon Jovi to the nation.
Yeah. I mean, it's important.
That is very important.
For which I was technically classed as a key worker.
Yes.
That was actually quite cool when I had the train to myself.
Yeah.
I was adding up the cost. It was like someone's subsidising the fact that there are no other passengers on this train except me. A 10 coach train from Manchester to London.
Not only that, didn't you get top quality luxury hotels because no one else wanted to stay there?
No one wanted to stay in London.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I stayed in some amazing hotels during lockdown in London.
Oh God! If only we could have
good times, good days.
If only we could have that corrupt process back.
And there was, if you knew where to go, there was still some good fun to be had in London.
Do you know what my solution is for lockdown? And I'll only ever do it once, but I've always said this. I would publicly hang one politician and one scientist on Whitehall. I'd like have them literally hanging from lampposts, just as a warning to everyone else, right? We'll do this once, we'll just hang these two, and then we'll forget all about it. But just, you're on notice now. Yeah. If you ever lock us down again, see these guys swinging in the wind? That's what's going to happen to you, to all of you. So we'll start with 2, and then we'll sort of roll it out gradually if it happens again.
I sometimes think, because during early COVID, we were told it could be anywhere upwards of 3% mortality rate. Obviously, that ended up being complete nonsense, but we were told numbers like that. We were told
many things, of course.
We were told lots of things, some of which were true. But I sometimes think now, if there was another pandemic, what would the mortality rate genuinely have to be for me to change the way I go about my life?
20%?
I actually think more than that.
Yeah.
I'd roll the dice. I'd just keep doing what I'm doing.
I mean, what's the point in living in living in your house. There isn't none. The proudest thing which I did during lockdown was we were the only club that I know of to play on the 19th of December. So we had that little reprieve when you were allowed to go and see your friends and dying relatives. Thanks guys. Thanks for all your charity. And we could play like a bastardised version of rugby. Just think about how stupid this was. Yeah. There was no scrums. You could ruck. You couldn't maul.
Tackle. Yeah.
Like only two people in a tackle. Like, are you mental? Like, how mental do you need to be to think of these things? But we're run by morons, and we wonder why populists exist. So we did that. We played against Stockport, and they were great lads about it. So they gave us a crate of beer, whatnot. But when we got back to Didsbury, we've got six or eight change rooms. I can't remember which one it is. But there were teams of 2 or 3 lads, and each change room was decked out as a bar. So we had like the sports bar, the wine bar.
And we did brilliant.
And we just shut everything up, right? We checked it from outside. There was no signs of light escaping from the changing room. No one could tell that we were in there. Each thing had had their own music, their own theme. It was fucking cold though. But we went from changing room to changing room, little bar crawl, and to this day, best bar crawl I've ever been on.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that totally demystified the whole thing. And the best thing about that lockdown period, from my perspective, was the fact that I was getting on a train every day, and going to and from London, and not sitting watching the news all day. So it was that. Yeah. Anyway, I have memory hold those couple of years.
Yeah, everyone has. Unfortunately, we'll never learn the lessons. Well, until there's a new pandemic, and in which case, my Project JB will probably come in.
The phrase that haunts me that I used to hear variations of was basically the man on the telly says.
Yeah.
That was it.
I'll tell you another one, right, which really wound me up. I remember training, and we were training, and as I was walking to training, we train in Fallowfield. Oh, well, you know where we train, right? Because you train there too. And I was walking there, and there's loads of girls in skimpy dresses, and I've not seen young girls in skimpy dresses for a long time. I've been locked up. Everyone's hair's all over the what's going on here? So we get to training, and all we can hear is music in the background, huge amounts of music. And more kids are showing up from every which direction.
Oh, I remember this.
Yes.
I remember this.
I'm like, this is incredible.
Illegal rave.
Awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't illegal rave. They were sort of allowed out, but the pubs weren't open. So April, it wasn't the warmest, but it wasn't the coldest. The nights were just starting to get a bit lighter.
I was going, go on, and have some fun.
Go for it.
Go have some fun.
And it was just so horrible when you see all these young people taking their futures into their own hands and their lives into their own hands and going to the park, all dressed up like it was a nightclub. And of course, what were the headlines the next day?
Super spreader.
No, it was worse than that. It was like, they left the park in a terrible state. They left rubbish everywhere. You fucking locked them up for a year and a half. You go and pick up the rubbish. Right? I want to go around everyone over 60 and make them pick up all the fucking rubbish because they made this happen.
They've killed their grannies as well.
Yeah. Get out. Awful.
Next week's games.
Yes, next year's games.
Yeah, next year's games. So Friday the 3rd. There are a couple of URC games on Wednesday.
Yeah, the Welsh ones have done different days for their fixtures. They did a Boxing Day game.
Bit weird. But we've got Friday, Newcastle host Harlequins, which Newcastle will be targeting that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure they're going to... Harlequins should win.
Yeah, will Quinn's rest players up for Champions Cup, though?
Probably. So, Newcastle will be targeting...
Well, they've got a real dilemma. What do they want to do with their season? Because if they were top 4, I think they'd go, let's give Champions Cup a bit of a crack.
Quins are away in Toulon, so I actually think they'd probably...
win this and rest up for...
And they've got 10 days. They're playing Friday night, and then their next game is Toulon on the Sunday.
Okay.
So...
full ball, get the win, try and get yourself competitive in the Premiership.
Yeah, I reckon they're going to... I reckon they'll try and win this game against Newcastle. They'll send a weaker team to Toulon, targeting the home match against Glasgow.
Are they away at Newcastle?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle will do them.
I'm going to go Quins, but
I'm going
maybe
Quins.
by 10.
Yeah. Then on the Saturday, we've got Gloucester hosting Sale. Sale back down to the southwest.
I might be there for this one.
It'll be a good game, this.
I've got a Gloucester shirt I can lend you if you want to wear it.
Yeah, well, I might.
Did you hear on the game today when the DJ was playing? I always think of you when I hear... pump it up.
Yeah. Great drinking song. I was thinking of you the other day. In just a quick Christmas anecdote. I went to. I just thought you'd be laughing because we did a Christmas Eve thing in Conway, and it was basically community radio from 1990s.
Yes.
So they had like a stage, and they had Big Gary. And do you know what the first song was that he played? And this guy, there's two of them. There's
Sweet Caroline.
No, it was the Match of the Day theme tune. Like halftime.
Amazing.
Come on, dads, let's all do the Match of the Day theme tune. I was like, this is not what I signed up for. And it was rammed. So there's two guys. There was basically a community DJ from Coast FM who's been doing it for like 30 years called Gary Cott. And this other guy called Big Mac. And I felt like I was in Father Ted.
Oh, Champion and Coast are the two stations up that way, aren't they?
Yeah,
I've worked on that back in the day.
Have you?
Yeah. When I was getting into radio, I went and did some Christmas cover on that whichever radio station it is.
It was pure Craggy Island, and then they cleared off, thank God. And then they had carols, like brass band and carols, like nice and soothing. But it went on for 5 carols too long, and then they brought them back on to do the Music Man.
Oh my word!
The Music Man. Yeah.
If you're down in Cheltenham, Gloucester,
which is a strong possibility.
Did you see friend of the pod Jamal Ford Robinson
score a try?
No, but you did see him score a try. Did you see his workout gear from this week?
No.
Oh yeah, they do their like neon gym session, don't they?
I'll share this little video with you.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got my sound on, but
Good
that
old
doesn't
Jamal.
matter. There we go.
Oh, I've seen this before.
Incredible.
Look at that.
Yes.
A great man.
And the shot from the rear.
Mr. Motivator, right?
Yeah.
So
powerful rump.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's been breaking in pre-season all sorts of strength records. Not lost ones, but personal ones, in tremendous shape. But he's just been injured, so I don't know what kind of shape he's in at the moment.
Well, that you could see what kind of shape he was.
Pretty good.
Aesthetically, there. Looking good. Looking strong. Right, so we've got Gloucester Sale. Away win.
For...
I think Sale will batter them.
I think Sale will.
I think
Sale will edge it.
I think Sale with that defensive performance, and what was great to see about that defensive performance, I thought Bristol were going to score with 2 minutes to go because it didn't matter to Sale, and they didn't. They just never stopped giving up, and the shutout was very, very impressive. So we've got that at 3:00, which JB will potentially be at. We've got Tigers hosting Chiefs, which I think is going to be a Tigers win.
Yes. I think it's going to be a Tigers win. But it's not going to be all their own way. I can see Exeter going ahead and losing it in the second half.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. And then Saracens host Bristol. Bristol, who are undefeated on the road this season, and Saracens, who are
reeling.
The injuries are mounting up for them as well.
And Saracens are in a decent position in the Champions Cup. Let me have a look at what their fixture is next week. The fixtures are the next 2 weeks. They are away to Munster and then home to Castres.
So they'll target winning. If they win that Castres game, they should get a home next round because they've already won 2, haven't they?
Yeah.
The likelihood of Saracens not reacting, and furthermore, not only not reacting, but not paying very close attention to what Sale did to Bristol and acting upon that and not coming out.
They will definitely act upon that.
This is going to be a really good game.
That's a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday.
Give me Saracens.
I just think the injuries are going to be too much. But I think Saracens will do a phenomenal job at shutting down Bristol.
I do want to see who's 10 for Bristol.
I think James Williams will start.
That's not going to be enough, is it? I don't think that's going to be enough.
I think
I'm going to go Bristol narrowly.
Bristol away. And then on the Sunday the 5th, we've got Northampton Saints hosting Bath. Repeat the final from last year.
And the opening game.
In 2 because we're now 9 games in, so we can start getting repeats, I guess.
What do I think about this?
I think Bath are going to have too much.
I think Bath are going to have too much. I do. I can't see a way.
Bath are home to Claremont and away to Leinster in their 2 remaining Champions Cup games.
They've lost both games, didn't they?
They lost
to La Rochelle and they went away to Benetton and lost.
So either that means they're throwing the towel in, focusing on the Premiership, or they have to go 100% and beat Claremont.
Well, they don't really need to try that hard in the Premiership, I don't think.
They're first by 5 points.
Yeah, so, the chance of them slipping out the top 4 is slim.
They're unlikely to beat Leinster, but they could beat... So I think they might factor that they're probably not going to make it through. Or if they do, there'll be a low seed and will end up being away to Toulouse or something like that.
Yep.
So I reckon they might. Yeah, so I say Bath. Oh, La Rochelle looked like they were about to lose in the top 14 to Perpignan. Second bottom.
Really?
Second bottom, yeah.
Wow.
Just looking at the team.
Presumably they've rested a few.
It's like a few,
Hastoy,
but still Hastoy, Donty, they have rested a few.
Yes.
And is that all of the? That's
all the fixtures.
So I'm going to end with a quick Christmas message.
Oh, okay.
I think so. You sort of know this story, Phil, and I'm not going to tell you the exact story. Only to say one of the most horrendous things has happened at Talk H this week. It didn't happen this week, but it happened a couple of days ago, prior to Christmas. And subsequent to that, I just think it's very important that if you're thinking of going back to your rugby club, one of the best reasons to do so is just the amount of support and goodwill that comes with it, and exactly how important it is to be around people that will support you and also care a lot for you. Because what has happened in Talk H the last couple of days has been absolutely horrendous. So if you're thinking about going back to rugby, or indeed anything, CrossFit, your church, any form of community, I would say that should be your New Year's resolution. Get back involved with something around you with like-minded people.
Go where people are. Could not agree more. It doesn't matter what, but rugby is a great place.
Yeah, rugby is about as good as it gets.
Yeah,
as I found out last few days.
Agreed.
Good. Yeah, it's a good note to end the pod on, because I know a bit more of the history, the background of that as well. So there you go.
Right, let the boys play. Let the boys end.
Let the boys end.
Let the boys play. Let the boys end.
The holidays are here, and if you have a special someone and need a great gift idea, look no further. Consider supporting a great cause while giving a family member, friend, or colleague a chance to win a 2025 Toyota Supra GR 3.0 Premium by purchasing a Sweetheart Benefit raffle ticket. Not only will you be supporting Coach Joe Gibbs' Youth for Tomorrow, but giving that special someone a chance to win a shiny red sports car. For more details, visit youthfortomorrow.org. Merry Christmas.